that, no one really talks about those
Yeah.
things. You're just grieving, so that's grief, and that's it. But there's, what else is there? Yeah, and then even like going forward into the future, like, do you remarry? Do you date? What does that look like? How long do you wait? Are widows only supposed to marry widowers? What does all of that stuff look like?
Mm,
And nobody really gives you any manual for it. And I guess conversations are not always had. For the most part, conversations are had where either people are widowed and they get married, but like, what happens in the in between? Like, tell us
mm,
what happened there, how, and if that's what you want, because not everybody even believes in love anymore or wants to,
yeah.
put themselves out there again. um but I think sometimes it's the assumption that, oh, you have to wait like a decade,
Yeah, yeah.
7 years. I mean,
Exactly that's what people think. Because I even today I actually read an article on Grazia about a lady. She lost her husband. No, she lost her husband, and she was basically talking about how, like, basically dealing with the grief and getting to a place where she felt like her grief had she'd, in her words, like loosened up, so she was kind of free again. And she said something quite interesting in terms of widows and widowers. Like, people kind of have this assumption that when men have been widowed, oh, okay, cool. After, just, I know you miss intimacy, so go and do whatever. If
mm-hmm,
that's remarry, if that's have casual thing. But whereas she was saying with widowers, is, oh, just be respectful, give yourself time, and then go and remarry. But she was
mm-hmm.
like, but how do you know I just want to do casual dating as well? But it's because, like, we just kind of assume, like, you're a widow, you shouldn't really be, what I'm saying, just be, you
Completely.
know, don't. And it's like, listen, like, I feel like people have needs, people crave intimacy. It's a natural thing, and that's not really gonna go away once you are been widowed. Like you said earlier, some people decide not to do that again,
Right.
remarry again.
Right.
And but I feel like, me personally, this is in my opinion, I feel like that's an age thing, because
Mm.
my grandma's in her 80s, and I don't think she's getting remarried again.
Right.
Do you know what I
Right.
mean? But you can't. I don't think it's fair to say the same for someone who's widowed in their 30s.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But when you think widowhood, and like, you kind of think of those expectations, or you have to wait, or you have to, like, maybe. But honestly, like, well, I mean, yeah, you can probably shed light on that, like, in terms of, I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, you're right. I think there's a different perspective with men and women. I think with men there's an expectation that after some time they'll sort themselves out. With women, especially if you have children, I feel like the narrative is, or the stereotype is, yeah, just focus on your children and all of that. And I mean, that's right, because you are focusing on your children, but it doesn't mean that that's going to fill all the space that you have. And there's like, when is the right time? Somebody will say that you can't, after, it's only after 1 year or after 5 or whatever. But to be honest, there's no right or wrong time. It's an individual, whatever the person feels, if they want to, if they don't want to. But I feel like from a widow or widower's perspective, that there's a lot of judgment that comes. Like, people will be like, if they move on, where people think, oh, that's too soon, however long that is. And did you not love your husband, or did you not love your wife? And you're like, but what's that got to do with you loving? You're still going to love that person, whether you marry or get into a relationship or have casual flings. You're still going to love that person. And that's going to go throughout your whole life, because you didn't actually break up. Like, you didn't actually have an official end to this.
Yeah,
And it's there. You being with somebody else doesn't replace that. It doesn't replace it at all. And I think that's the thing that people don't understand. They kind of think, oh, you're in a new relationship now, life is good. It can be good, but it doesn't take away or negate from the love or the feelings or the
Yeah.
grief that you still have. Like, you can be married and you will still feel griefy. The anniversaries will come, the dates will come, all of that, you will still have that. And I think that's something that people don't quite understand. For the most part, I see it as people feel like it's a replacement of the other, but you can't replace
Yeah.
people are individual, so you can never replace one person over the other. You have a different story with one person and you're there trying to create a new story with somebody else, so it's not the same. It has nothing to do with one another. So in my opinion, if someone was to meet somebody after a few months after their spouse died or whatever, that's on them, that's up to them. Does it mean that they didn't love their spouse? No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. They're two
Yeah.
separate things, because that person is technically not here, so you can still love them. If you're grieving, it means that you love them.
Yeah.
So you can still love them, but they're not here. And some
Yeah.
people are more practical in moving forward with their lives and taking steps to say, okay, I'm going to move forward with my life. But it doesn't mean I'm moving on or forgetting, because you can't. And that's something that I'm glad that you mentioned, that I couldn't maybe be able to speak into, because I think a lot of people don't quite get that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's very, very different.
It's true. And just back to, sorry, Ben, were you gonna say something?
Oh yeah, sure. I just wanted to ask, what were your kids when you decided to do dating? Were your children? Did you tell them that, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, or
Mhm,
was that something that you just thought, let me say at the right time?
mhm,
That's
yeah.
just for open.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Ben. So actually, maybe because my children are younger, I guess people can be different, and yeah, different situations, different. But my kids were the ones kind of, I won't say forcing me, but encouraging me to like be like, are you sure you're not gonna like? I remember one awkward situation. I don't know what they've been watching. Maybe all these American shows. They're like, Mum,
What? This is us, yeah.
no, something else, maybe something on the Disney Channel or whatever. And they're like, oh, Mom, are you dating? And I was like, what? So I was like, no. And they were like, we could set up a dating profile for you. I was like, what do you know about dating profiles? So but
Funny.
that was even far before I was even ready. So I think their hearts are definitely more open. Obviously they go through different periods and they've asked questions and all of that, but I think they're quite secure in knowing that their dad's not going to be replaced. So I think it may feel easy for them. And again, they're quite younger, and they're like me, love. So they were actually there before me. So they'd say all these things to me, and I'm like, yeah, just rolling my eyes. So I mean,
Your
I guess
kids are
that would get
playing
us on to
Cupid.
the next question in terms of like dating, like how did I get to that place, or what does that even look like? I mean, I wouldn't fully like put my leg in it to say that yeah, I've been dating for a long time, but I've been open to it for probably about a year now. And yeah, I've met people, but I think the good thing is, from this journey and even just being married, I think I know what I want, and I definitely have wisdom in just discerning things, and I don't particularly need to be with anyone. So I think I was saying it to you, Jermaine, the other time, that a lot of people my age are in their early 30s and they're wanting to settle down and they want to have a family and do the house, car, all of
Mm,
that stuff. And a lot of those things I've kind of already done. Like, I've got kids already, so I don't
mm,
particularly need to settle down, because of that. So I think I'm definitely sort of taking my time and being intentional and making sure that it's, all for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I take regular breaks because it can be quite overwhelming in terms of just meeting new people, because sometimes that then triggers what you had and you're like,
Mm.
oh gosh, like, why do I have to go through this again? Or why do I need to start? Who is this person? Like, I don't know you from anywhere. I
What?
mean, you do, but that's what your mind is saying. Like,
Or like how
I
many
don't
times
like
have you got to
this.
say your
Yeah.
favorite color? Like I gotta do this
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, having to start all over again. And you're like, oh, this is long. Like, I don't want to do this. Just give me my person back. You give me the person that I
Yeah,
had. Like,
yeah.
so sometimes it triggers those kind of emotions. And I just take regular breaks. So I probably take more breaks than I'm actually active, but I mean, the work in progress, right?
Yeah, exactly. But when you said like, because like most people dating, they're probably thinking, well, some people are probably thinking, okay, right, I'm dating to marry kids, whereas you've already kind of done that. So like, uh, I would say, what are your kind of what's your ideal kind of scenario then? See, because you have the kids, you have the kids, and
Yeah.
so like I guess dating for you be look quite differently compared to the conventional person kind
Right.
of dating.
Right. So I think it's that, after, so now I've been almost 3 years in sort of looking after the most of the things like finances, home, the this, that, the children. So from a practical element, I can kind of do it all, if you want to say. Um, so the main part for me probably is companionship. That's the only part I can't give myself. So
Okay, yeah,
I can keep myself company, but I can't be another person. So
yeah,
it would just have to be somebody who I enjoy spending time with, doing life with, for however long we have, and hopefully it's
mm,
long. But yeah, that'll be the ideal. And obviously I've got kids, right? So someone who's able to embrace them and yeah, just just be. So someone to do life with, really. So I
yeah,
think it sounds like it's not a lot, but I think yeah, I think it's quite a lot in terms of, that's where my head is at. I'm not thinking, oh, all the things that I would have been thinking, when I originally got married. Like, it's like I'm a new person, and I've matured,
yeah,
I've grown, I've stretched. Um so so yeah, and I guess I'm quite I think I know more what I want and what I don't want and what I don't need. So yeah, but it's been an interesting journey.